Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with Season 2, Episode 18 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. Today we're going to get started on a little something different, something that I probably have been putting off for a little bit too long, and I want to get it started now. We're going to start off with some Railcraft stuff, because I think I figured out how I want to do our tree farm, but I'm not going to use forestry to do it. I'm going to use carts. So it's going to be really cool. So to get that started, we're definitely going to need to get some started with some Railcraft stuff. So to do that, we're going to start off making a coke oven brick. We're going to need quite a few of these. We're going to need 26 of them, in fact. So basically, I've just got myself a mess of brick here. And that should do. I think we might actually get away with having just enough of this stuff. And that should do. So like I said, we're going to need 26. And that should do. If I've done my math right, that'll do it. Now, I'm actually going to set this up outside of our main factory floor. And the reason for that is I actually have plans to expand our factory at some point. And I want to do, basically I want to do our Railcraft stuff over in another sort of part of the building over here. So, to that end, that's where we're going to start. Obviously, since we don't have a building here yet, it's kind of a moot point, but we're going to go ahead and set up our stuff over here so we can just build around it later. So I'm thinking, let's see, let's find a good spot to put this. I'm thinking maybe, see if we have a way in over here. I'm thinking maybe right along this wall somewhere. How about right here? So the way the coke oven works, it's another one of these multi-block structures, very similar to the one we made for GregTech. In fact, I believe Railcraft was probably one of the first mods to do multi-block structures. I can't think of another mod that started doing it before it. If you guys know, please feel free to share. But for now, we got our coke oven. So make sure that you have, it's going to be basically a 3x3x3 block, except the center brick will be missing. And here's the coke oven. Pretty simple little interface. Basically, coal goes in here, and that's going to get processed into two things, coal coke and creosote oil. So, obviously, we're going to have quite a bit of creosote oil, and we're probably going to want to store that somewhere, so we're probably going to want to get ourselves together another one of our iron tanks. But you guys have seen me make those before, so why don't I get together the iron plates and stuff I need to make that, and then I'll be back. Alright, as you guys can see, I got myself a pretty nice sized iron tank set up here. And I've got myself some liquid ducts. You can see I put a valve on both sides of the tank because we're probably going to, well, we're definitely going to want to pump creosote out of this at some point into a machine. So to get this thing hooked up, make sure you've got a length of 2 if you want this to look good. If we flip this, and of course we're going to need a thing I don't have, but I'll go ahead and grab that here in a second. But we'll go ahead and take some coal and put that in our coke oven, and you'll see within about a second it'll start to heat up. Now this machine runs really slow, so realistically, if you have the opportunity, you should probably get this thing started a bit sooner than I finally got around to it. It runs pretty slow, and it does produce I'd say just about a bucket's worth of creosote at any given time. But on the plus side, we can just sort of leave this running and let it sort of do its thing, and sort of forget about it for a little while. We can probably find a way to automatically get coal into this thing at some point, but that's not really necessary right now. And I could probably at some point down the road maybe make another one, and I'm not sure exactly how I would go about that, but if I would just put it here or if I would put it above it, who knows. But needless to say, as soon as we get a lever on this liquid duct here, which I'll go ahead and do, I think we've got some spare ones lying about somewhere. I just can't remember where I put them. I know I had one. I know I've got one in there. Where did I put you? There we go, levers. Like I said, I really should just keep like a whole stack of these on me at all times because I'm always seeming to need them. But simply enough, we can just give this a little redstone signal, and obviously right now it hasn't run, so there's nothing going to pass through the pipe. But when it does, it'll be more than ready. I'm actually going to move the lever. Let's put it right there. Just for... Nope, changed my mind again. Right there. Just so that we can easily see it and access it if we need, and kind of is in a spot that makes sort of certain amount of sense. So that done, let's pop back in and get a couple more machines going, because basically what I want to do is I want to set myself up so I can very easily make get into this sort of making carts and rails and fun stuff. I think at some point down the line, I don't know why I threw all that stuff in there, but at some point down the line, we'll probably move our rolling machine. Obviously, when I get this sort of next area of our factory built, I'll do that off camera. Who knows? Maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. I do have a stream on Twitch, so if you guys are interested, I'll pop a link down in the description so you guys can check it out. But let's see. Next thing we were gonna do was figure out what we can do with all this creosote we're going to be producing eventually. Let's go like that. We're going to need fairly good amount of bronze. So we're just going to get there. Going to make ourselves some bronze. I'm going to need a bit more than that. And piece of tin should give us another 2, and that should do it. There we go. We're going to make ourselves, actually we're going to make ourselves something that we've already made before, which is a carpenter. But the cool thing about the carpenter is the carpenter can accept lots of different kinds of liquid. And one of the kinds of liquids that it can take is creosote. And that is what we're going to use to make, well, part of what we're going to use to make any sort of rails using Railcraft. So should be something along these lines if I recall. I need a bit of glass. Should give us a carpenter. Yes, cool. So yeah, so like I said, this thing can take lots of different kinds of liquid. Water is just one of them, and creosote is just another. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to want to ultimately put this thing, but just for now, I think we'll just sort of slap it down right here. Because again, this is all going to be probably moved around at some point, but hopefully you guys can sort of see at least the concept here. Okay, you can see we finally processed a bit of coal coke, and we've got a little bit of creosote in. Okay, so about half a bucket per coal that it processes into coke. So there you go. There's an exact number for you. I'm going to need a bit more. Obviously, I'm going to need some kind of buildcraft power hooked up to this, and I'm going to need... now, I know at some point I probably want our Railcraft sort of area, our rail yard, to be self-sufficiently powered, so I don't really want to connect all of that to the geothermal power generation. Let me take a minute to sort of think about exactly how I want to power that for now, and I also need to make myself a couple more liquiducts, so I'll just do that off camera and then I'll be back. Alright, I'm back, and I decided to set up sort of a similar system for our Railcraft stuff as we have here. In fact, it's pretty much identical to this. I figured it's Railcraft, let's use some Railcraft engines now and forever. But I definitely needed more gates, and I'm tired of how slow this thing is going, so I'm going to add 3 lasers to this thing. And you can see, boom, it is flying now. There we go. Getting some redstone chipsets. I'm going to make a bunch of these gates, but yeah, I definitely, of course, I could do 3 more, I think. I'm not sure if this is too far. Let's find out. I definitely want to do 3 more, so figuring out, we'll just make 1 to start with, that way if it doesn't work and we can't figure out a way to make it work, we're not wasting too much. So hopefully you guys remember the laser. Pretty simple. Just some diamonds, which we have fairly good amount of diamonds at this point. I'm a little concerned about how slow this is running. Why are you running so slow? I think this thing is hooked up to these engines. What is going on here? Something very strange and possibly bizarre is occurring. It's heating up, which means that's flipped on. Huh. Let me take a minute to figure out what exactly is going on here, and I'll be back. Well, that was incredibly odd. It seems to be back to running at full speed, so I guess that'll work. Now, I'm not actually sure if we can turn this, but we're going to find out in a second. Or if we just have to break it. Let's just break it. And do that. Yeah, that'll reach. And again, it's slowing down for some reason. There must be some kind of massive power loss going on, which is very strange, if you ask me. I think what I'll do, I'll just connect these systems, because I figure there's a good chance that maybe it'll do better with these two systems working in concert with each other. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, to be perfectly honest with you. I assume there's a lot of stuff hooked up to this system, so there shouldn't be that much draining power except for this, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Well, I'll try to figure that out later. For now, just know that I'm working on getting some more of these iron gates done, so as soon as they're done, I'll be back. Alright, so I think I fixed the problem. You can see it required me to make a little bit of a mess with this wiring, but the reason it's so messy is that I believe the energy cells can output this amount on each of their faces, or input this amount on each of their faces. So basically what I did was I went over to our primary energy cell, I gave it a couple more outputs so it can output a little more power, and I built another redstone energy cell here basically as a storage block purely for all our lasers. And you can see it's got one input on the bottom, but it's got 3 outputs. Actually, it might be 4 outputs. That way, because this thing should basically only be running in bursts as opposed to, all the time. So basically it's set up so that this will store up a huge buffer, and then when I need it, it should be able to transfer all the power we need to our lasers. So they are working pretty good thus far, and I got these iron AND gates pretty quickly. So that done, let's get back to our business at hand. I'm actually going to make a bit more. Look at that red pipe wire go. So fast. Cool. So I'm going to go back to the business at hand of what we were sort of in the middle of when we got a little sidetracked by that problem with our lasers. So yeah, you can see I got myself a redstone energy cell here. This is the sort of pocket one I've been carrying around. I'll probably make a new one. Again, I got the materials in the other room, but I won't do that on camera. So just like before, we'll just slap our gates on here. You guys should be fairly familiar with this build. This is probably temporary in terms of Buildcraft power generation for all our Railcraft stuff, but for now it should do the trick. And yeah, and it's also using Railcraft steam engines, which I think is a good plan. So, why are you not outputting water? That is a good question. Wait, I think I know why. I think when it comes to these, right, we don't want to actually have the little arrow when it's hooked up to an actual aqueous accumulator, because that'll bungle it up for some reason. So I'm just going to throw some coal in here. Like I said, you guys should be fairly familiar with this setup as we did it. It's the exact same thing we did in that other room. So red pipe signal, redstone signal. Red pipe signal, redstone signal, redstone signal. And then you can store energy, red pipe signal. Alright, so from there it's just a simple matter of hooking up some conduits and we're good to go. Okay. Make sure that's facing the right way. And we should have power. So cool. So the only thing left to do for this thing is hook up some creosote. And this should be doing pretty well. So grab our liquid ducts, which we made a couple more. And I'm trying to decide where we want to pump this in. Maybe side will do. Yeah. So there we go, and we'll need a lever, just like before. And we'll put the lever here. Creosote is flowing and filling up our carpenter. Awesome. So you may be asking yourselves, okay, what was the point of all this? Well, obviously this is still running pretty slow, so we've already used up all the, or at least we've put all the creosote that we've been getting thus far in our carpenter. But the reason for this is that we, in order to make rails, let's see, in order to make rails in Railcraft, we need the standard rails, which are done in a rolling machine, like so. And we also need wooden rail beds, which are made using wooden ties, which are made using some wood slabs and some creosote. And we can do this in our carpenter. We could just bucket it out and that, but that's not nearly as fun. So we're gonna need, first we're gonna need to get ourselves a bit of wooden slabs. I'm just gonna get as many as we can, because why not? And we'll just slap those in there like so. And you'll see it'll start to run. It's not a hugely fast machine, but it's not too bad. So you can see it's starting to get our wooden ties. So while those are running, let's go ahead and go in here and get ourselves some, not those, but some rails going. Obviously we are using quite a bit of iron in this, with this stuff, but cool. So we're just going to get, I don't know, a good number of those. And I'm going to flip the switch on so that our power is flowing. Cool. And we're getting our standard rails. That should do. So now we just back out here. We should have some wooden ties done. There we go. That should be enough. For one at least. And it's not too bad. We get 16 tracks for every time we do that. So obviously we're going to need to make, I'm going to make some more wooden slabs and some wooden ties off camera. And when I come back, I'm going to show you a related but not part of Railcraft bit of fun. So I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, let's craft ourselves a new machine, shall we? We're going to mess around with a new machine. This is from Steve's Carts, called the Cart Assembler. You can see it looks to be kind of complicated. We need these things called simple PCBs, but they're not too bad. Just some gold and some iron and some redstone. So we're going to need, I believe, 2 of these, and I believe we only get 1 per, if I remember what I just looked at a second ago. Yep, 2 PCBs will do it. And then we'll just take some smooth stone like so, and I believe iron, up top like this will give us a cart assembler. Now this machine is really cool. So you're probably familiar with vanilla minecarts. They're pretty simple. You make them with iron and you can ride around on tracks with them. Not that complicated. Well, the cart assembler is about to look really complicated, but I promise you it's not. Oh boy. Okay, so what's this? So basically with Steve's carts, there are all sorts of cool different kinds of mine carts you can make with all sorts of different engines that drive them forward, tools that let them do different jobs, attachments that make them do different things, storage, and additional add-ons that sort of are random little bits and bobs that they can do. So, looks complicated, right? Well, it's not too bad actually. What we're going to start working on is, like I said, I definitely want to get some kind of tree farm going, but I didn't want to do it the forestry way. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So we're going to use Steve's carts to do it, and that's why we wanted to make ourselves some tracks and get some of our Railcraft stuff going. So to do that, we're going to need a couple things. The first thing we're going to need to deal with is our hull. What is our cart going to be made of? And I think we're going to go with a standard hull. You can see there's a couple different types. Obviously each of them you can see have different capacities for upgrades, for the little modules, how complicated those modules can be, how many engines, and how many add-ons they can have. The standard hull obviously is pretty much your standard one. You're going to use this one the most probably, but you can see it's got a good capacity, good complexity, good number of engines. And then of course the reinforced hull is your best one. So like I said, standard is probably going to do us pretty good, and here's the recipe for it. Just takes a bit of iron and, hey look, a bit of iron and some sticks. Looked complicated, really wasn't. I don't think we actually have any wood on us, but we should have some in here. We're going to need more wood than that. Surprisingly, we're kind of low on wood, and that's probably why it's a good idea we're getting started with some kind of forestry farm, because, well, this has been kind of not great for us in terms of really having what we need. So we're going to need 2 wheels, piece of cake, and some iron. There we go. Standard hull. So there's our first piece that we needed. So we're going to want a couple other things. Namely, we want for this cart to be able to basically cut down trees. So we can do that. So the tool we're going to give it is a wood cutter. Pretty simple little tool. Basically what this thing will do, again, looks really complicated. Oh boy, needs diamonds. It's going to need all sorts of stuff, and it's pretty much one, it looks complicated, and it kind of is, but so we're going to need 2 simple PCBs again. So should be something like this, if I recall. It's basically kind of like our thermal expansion machine casing, but a little different. So we need 2 of those, and we're going to need some more iron down the middle. Was it like this? Yep, advanced PCB, simple. Now we just need to make 5 saw blades, and that's going to take some diamonds. A little bit expensive. 5 diamonds isn't too bad. We've managed to get ourselves a pretty good supply. So it should be something along these lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. So we should be about ready. All we need is to take our advanced PCB and surround it with some saplings, which we have in abundance. At least we should. There we go. Now, interestingly enough, this is the first time I've ever actually done anything with Steve's carts, but I think it's cool. So I definitely wanted to give it a try and see how I liked it. And I think after messing around a little bit with it on my test world, I think it's going to be really cool. So there's our tool. So right now all we have is it's a hull, and it can cut down trees. Well, that's not quite enough. We also need some way for it to hold what it gets, and to do that we're going to need to make some of these side chests. Ooh, looks complicated again, but again, fairly simple, just takes some wood. I'm actually wondering, as you can see, we're going to get a lot of these things. It looks like we actually do need a bit of log. I'm trying to see here. Chest panes. Okay, yeah, we need a couple logs. But we get a lot of these for our trouble. So, should be something like this, maybe? Yes, cool. So chest panes. We need quite a few of these, so we're going to need 4 huge chest panes. You know what? Because we need so many, I'm going to make a full stack. So we need 4 of these. Okay. And then we need a couple large chest panes. I believe we just need 2 of those. And then we need just a couple chest panes. So, oh boy, that seemed pretty complicated. Oh yeah, we need a chest lock as well, which should be a bit of iron with some smooth stone. Cool, and we get a few of those as well. So it should be something like this. 2, 3, 4. A couple small ones and medium ones will give us the side chest upgrade. That was quite a bit. So that done, we have one other thing we need to deal with, and that is giving the cart some power. And there's lots of different engines that it can use. We've got your standard coal engines, and we've also got, which basically runs off coal, burnables, and we've also got solar powered engines. I think we're going to go with solar powered engines, and we have actually a couple different options as far as that's concerned. Each of these are basically tiers up. So you got your basic solar engine, that's pretty much your lowest quality one. There's your solar engine, which is your pretty good one, your mid-range one, and then there's your compact solar engine, which is your most expensive, but actually it saves on the space in your cart. I think we're going to go with the solar engine. So once again, we're going to need another one of these advanced PCBs, pretty simple. I think we're going to need to grab a bit more iron. That'll probably do. Just throw that in there. So we need 2 of you. Okay. And then we just need... I haven't quite memorized these recipes yet, so you guys have to bear with me just a little bit. We just gonna need a couple pistons. That's easy. We have a plan for that. Come on, there you are. Probably what I should do is I should probably make plans for all these various little Steve's Carts bits. Probably would be not a bad idea. I believe we needed 2 of those. And now we just need to make these solar panels, which aren't too bad. We're going to need 4 of these, so we're going to need a bit more glowstone. Ooh, don't have much of that left, do we? I believe it was more glowstone than redstone. I could be wrong. Okay, it's going to be apparently demanding a certain... There we go. 4 solar panels. And I think that's everything. So advanced PCB in the middle, 4 solar panels, a couple bits of iron, and some pistons. Where are they? There we go. Solar engine. Awesome. Alright, so I think we have everything we're going to need for this. So let's put this thing, well, let's sleep through the night first. And get over here and get this thing going. Now the cart assembler is kind of an interesting machine. Just try not to get killed by creepers or blow up our everything. Aha! I have some skill at killing creepers. Some, not much. Alright, let's make sure that we're not about to be jumped. Downside of doing this outside at the moment. So, pretty simple. We pretty much just take our hull here and we place it in there. You can see our things sort of opened up. You can see the slots that are open indicate what can go into this cart. We get a nice little graphical representation of what we're building. It's also giving us information on the hull's capacity, its complexity, and how long it's going to take to build. Ah, that's interesting, right? So let's just start plugging in. We've got our engine, our solar engine. Ooh, that really increases the time it takes. Our tool is our woodcutter. Again, wow, that really jumped the time. And our storage, which doesn't really affect the time to build at all. So it's going to take about 13 minutes to build this thing. And I'm going to let that happen off camera because that could take a while. So I think we're probably getting pretty close to the point where we need to call this episode. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and throw some coal in here and get this thing started. And as soon as it's done, I'll come back and I'll show you guys. Actually, what I'll do is I'll throw the coal in. Sorry, I'm changing my mind as I'm speaking. I do that quite a bit. I'm sorry. I don't want to throw you guys off, but I do change my mind quite a bit while I'm talking. So yeah, coal goes in. You can see it goes up to full fuel level, and it's currently telling us the assembler is currently not working because we haven't hit it yet. So we're going to hit assemble, and off it goes. So you can see progress bar, a little bit of a progress bar, and it's telling us how much time we have left. So basically, I'm going to let this go, and this is where we're going to call this episode, leave it with a little bit of a cliffhanger. So stay tuned for next episode when we're actually going to, basically, this thing will be done by the time next episode comes along, and we'll use it to make a cool tree harvesting system. So until then, this has been episode 18 of DarkDragoon's Feed the Beast Modpack Let's Play Season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Stay tuned for next episode. I'll catch you guys later.